Welcome to Grandma's Attic Music Review. Oh my goodness, it's always so much fun to be here with you. So tonight, we have a little story that goes with tonight's show. Long time ago, back in a whole nother studio, we had booked all of our bands for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and I had made plans with who's performing tonight to come to the studio. Well, we all show up there and we're all excited and we're waiting around. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And guess what? Somebody didn't show up. And they had the keys to the building. But it's okay. It's okay. We worked it out. Somebody made a mistake. And I invited this duo to come back. And this turns out to be in the new studio, which is brighter and lighter and finer, and we're happy to be here. So I met them at, I believe it was Shayna B's by the Sea, and we talked, and I said, you should come do my show. And now, finally, pretty close to 2 years, I think, later. Isn't it about 2 years since I met you? At least. So I'm going to tell you that you're going to enjoy their music, you're going to enjoy their voices, and I'm going to enjoy the interview. Da-da-da-da. So please welcome into your heart, into your home, and into your ear and that musical love you have, David Coller and Diane Chodkowski. Very good. Sort of. I did it. I know I did it wrong. But anyway, please listen to them play instead of me talk. Yay!
We're Nova Scotia bound, boys. Nova Scotia bound. Sailing on the Gulf of Maine, boys, nothing but the fog and rain, boys. We're Nova Scotia bound. It's 3 long days and nights, boys. 3 long days and nights, if the wind is there and ready, if the current's fair and steady. We're Nova Scotia bound. My true love's waiting there, boys. True love's waiting there. I can see her shining face, boys. I can feel her warm embrace, boys. We're Nova Scotia bound. The sea is dark and cold, boys. Sea is dark and cold, and it leaves a space inside you greater than the grace that guides you. We're Nova Scotia bound. And when my time is gone, boys, when my time is gone, bury me upon the hillside, underneath the flowers at the springtide. I'm Nova Scotia bound. I'm Nova Scotia bound. Thank you. So I wrote that song. I wrote that song on the midnight to 4 a.m. watch in the pea soup fog, sailing across from Provincetown to Nova Scotia, where I was going to meet Diane in Halifax. This next song, my youngest daughter and I were walking down by the mighty Quinnipiac River in New Haven and watching the oyster boats go by. Today the oyster boats are headed for the Sound. Looks like it's gonna blow, so dog your hatches down. We're outward bound again this cold November day. Turn towards a bitter wind and feel the ocean sway. My Sally Ann, rock me on the water. My Sally Ann, I named you for my daughter. The morning sun will find us alone on the ocean once more, a long way from home. Houses of gingerbread and clapboards by the shore. They watched the sailing ships when they went off to war. My father's father felt the calling of the sea. Left a wife and infant son the way that mine left me. My Sally Ann, rock me on the water. My Sally Ann, I named you for my daughter. The morning sun will find us alone on the ocean once more, a long way from home. Spindrift and autumn mist, the dories on the bay. God knows the life we knew has all but slipped away. Today the oyster boats are headed for the Sound. Tomorrow who can tell? So dog your hatches down, my Sally Ann, rock me on the water. My Sally Ann, I named you for my daughter. The morning sun will find us alone on the ocean once more, a long way from home, a long way from home. Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, the summer before last, Diane and I sailed up to Cape Breton in Nova Scotia. We were headed for Newfoundland, but the weather was so bad and we had so many problems that we had to turn around before we got there. But anyway, just about everything went wrong. The radar went out in the pea soup fog while crossing the mouth of Halifax Harbor. That was interesting. We developed a leak, which required me to crawl under the cockpit and over the engine to fix. And and finally the transmission went out in the Cape Cod Canal with a 5-knot current running, which was sort of like riding on an elephant on skating rink. It's like, whoa. We got rescued and everything was fine, but Diane could well have sung this next song to me after that. We're sinking. I hate to wake you up, but we're sinking. I know you'd like to sleep, but the water's ankle deep, and a minor change of plans is what I'm thinking. We're sinking. Put your breakfast plans on hold because we're sinking. The ham and eggs sound nice, but they'll come at a price. It'll be saltwater coffee you'll be drinking. We're leaking. We're headed for the bottom, strictly speaking. So while the water comes a sloshing, you could give your teeth a floss, and while I activate this rusty rescue beacon, Einstein, all that I can say is, wake up, Einstein. I didn't raise a rumpus when you forgot the bloody compass, but now it's time to leave that teddy bear behind, 'cause we're missing. The local TV news will say we're missing. They'll never know our fate was to be the friggin' bait when, like it or not, you and I were going fishing. The life raft. I really wish that you had brought the life raft. Or at least a proper dinghy, not this leaky rubber thingy, better suited to a baby in a bath. 'Cause we're sinking, and if we ever get to shore, I'll take up drinking. And the next time that we travel, it will be by bloody camel. Arrivederci, sayonara, we're sinking. Are you daft? Are you dim? Do you really want to swim? Get your ass up off that bunk because we're sinking.
Awesome.
So I do a lot of sea songs, and in fact, we're going to be in the Sea Music Festival in June in Essex. But I also write a lot of other stuff, and I'm willing to bet that this is probably the first time anybody's sung a song on this show that was inspired by and is dedicated to a stripper. Diane and I went to this show about 10 years ago, and not that kind of a show, not that kind of a show. Not that kind of a show, but it was sort of a circusy thing. They had a sword swallower and a fire eater and a guy throwing knives at this woman with her arms out in front of a target looking terrified, and a magician cutting people in half, all that stuff. But the MC was this woman who came out in her sequined sheath dress and announced the act. She was the MC, but she also talked about her chosen profession, which was high burlesque. That was her thing, and she went by the stage name of Dot Mitzvah, which I thought was just wonderful. Anyway, this song actually benefits from audience participation. So, audience, here's your calling. You remember the musical Fiddler on the Roof, right? You must remember that musical. Absolutely. Remember the song Tradition? Yeah, well, that's your part. That's your part. So you'll know when it comes around, and the word will not be tradition. You've got to sparkle if you want to make the big time. Every little spark has got to shine, shine, shine. Every last scintilla's got to scintillate and shimmer if you want to make it off that chorus line. You've got to sparkle, got to sparkle, sparkle if you want to make the big time. You've got to shock them if you want to be a big star. Get yourself a chauffeur and a badass car. A little bit of scandal and an all-over tan will guarantee in writing that you will go far. The folks back on the farm, well, they're gonna have to wait. They could watch you on the TV if they'd ever stay up late. But Iowa is not the place for your kind of ambition. On a mission, make a wish on the fast track to perdition.
Perdition.
That was pretty good, but I bet you can be louder than that. You've got to grab them by the hair and make them listen. Make them squirm, make them sweat until they glisten. Listen, give them sin, give them skin, give it to them on the chin, give them things they never knew that they were missing. Woo! You've got to sparkle, got to sparkle, sparkle if you want to make the big time. You've got to radiate like you were from Chernobyl. Set the stage on fire and burn it down to rubble. Got to fizz and sizzle, be made of bone and gristle till that top spot on the marquee rolls around. The folks back on the farm, well, he could never understand why all those cows and soybeans were not part of the plan. But you just weren't cut out for that bovine bump and grind. Say ta-ta, ooh la la, take the fast track to perdition.
Perdition.
You've got to sparkle if you want to make the big time. Every little spark has got to shine, shine, shine. Every last scintilla's got to scintillate and shimmer if you want to make it off that chorus line. Woo! You've got to sparkle, got to sparkle, sparkle if you want to make the big time. Well, we're going to change gears here a little bit. I don't write a lot of love songs. I've written 2, and we're going to do both of them tonight. But this is the first love song I ever wrote, and I wrote it for Diane here. So, just get the little equipment change here. Get the finger picks on and the flat pick in the pocket.
That's right. We are live on Facebook, by the way.
Ah.
Hi, everyone.
Vicky Artie's out there. Say
Hi,
hi, Vicky.
Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
Bill Johnson is out there. Say hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to Ducks Live.
Okay. Here. All day I walked along these streets with you. We did 100 things we love to do. On every corner there was something new. This perfect day, your perfect face, this perfect hour, this perfect place should be enough for any man. One time around is all we get. They say you never should forget how hard it is to hold what's in your hand. But I'll take the moon. I'll take the moon. You brought me sunlit hours, suntans and summer flowers, but I'll take the moon. A loaf of bread, a jug of wine, and thou. Who was the poet said that anyhow? How could he know that moment was just now? Your laughing eyes, the dancers sway, this tender love, this small cafe, are like the dream I once had. If it could be like this for life, I'd gladly do it over twice and never think to question what I had. Still, I'll take the moon. I'll take the moon. You brought champagne and roses, candles and evening clothes, but I'll take the moon. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. I lay beside you on this feather bed. After the words that could be said were said, after the troubles of the day had fled, that pale light falling on your breast, that gentle curve, that soft caress, are like the gift of heaven's grace. She's going gray, she's sometimes cold, and truth be told, she's growing old. Still, when she shines her light upon your face, I'll take the moon. I'll take the moon. The sun is rising up and the new day's calling us. But I'll take the moon. Thank you. So, I don't know about all you folks who are watching or are in the audience, but for me, the single best thing I ever did in my life was raising children. And I get it, it's not for everybody. Some people don't want children, and some people who have children don't want children. But I wasn't one of those people. I enjoyed virtually every minute of it, although there were some hellish times in the teens. But it was fun hell, you know? It was fun hell. Anyway, the hardest thing for me was when they all moved out, you know? And I was talking to my old friend, Paul Henry. He's a songwriter out in California. And he was talking about his youngest daughter was getting ready to move out of the house. And he said, you know, I'm just going to miss the sound of her voice. The kites in the sky, the kids on the beach, the scent of the salt spray, the taste of a peach, the footprints that wander away in the sand, the beach grass that grows at the end of the land. It's beautiful here, but if you had the choice, you'd barter it all just for Lillian's voice. The ragtime piano that drifts down the street, the radio keeping a soft, steady beat, the sound of the church choir, the songs of the birds. You try to explain, but you can't find the words. You know that their music should make you rejoice, but it's just so much noise after Lillian's voice. The wind in the curtains that billow and blow, the ghosts of the childhood you watched come and go, the glass full of marbles, the doll with no eyes, whose greatest of gifts is that she never cries, the postcards and posters and old broken toys, all carry the echoes of Lillian's voice. The sound of the rain on the stones in the mist, the warmth on your lips of the forehead you kissed, the promise of spring and the sadness of fall, the dark of the night at the end of it all, the circle of life, the life full of joy, the joy and the memory of Lillian's voice.
Oh, that's a no. We'll talk about that in the interview.
So, we got a few more songs for you here.
So why don't you do 2 more songs and then come talk to me?
Okay,
How's that sound?
that sounds just
And
fine.
then that will save you a song for taking us out, right?
All right,
Does that sound right?
sounds good.
I don't know. I didn't look at your set list that closely.
Well, I used to live in San Diego, California. And when I lived there, my favorite thing to do was go backpacking. And so, my favorite place to go backpacking was the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. It's just beautiful. It's these stark landscapes and the cactus that bloom in the spring and all of that. It's quite wonderful. My dad, however, was a sailor, as I am now. But so I was kind of surprised. I asked him to go backpacking for a weekend, a long weekend, and he said, "Sure." I said, "Oh, okay." So we got up real early, me and my dad and my friend Mike, and we drove out to the desert. It was 2 hours. We got there, it was still dark. There was nobody around. That first day, it was 97 degrees. But it was dry, it's the desert, it's dry heat, right? So, and we were hiking up a canyon that had water running year-round. It's called Sheep Canyon, and everywhere that the water pooled as it came down the side of the mountain, there'd be a little stand of palm trees. So it was just these little spots of paradise as far as the eye could see, Anyway, second day out, it was 110 degrees. But it was a dry heat, right? And so what we did is we hike in the morning, and we lie under a waterfall in the afternoon, and then we'd hike in the evening, and all was cool. And the third day, we had to turn around and come out, and it was 117 degrees. But it was a dry heat. Anyway, so we hiked back down. We stuck to the program, man. We got down, and the sun was setting, and our car was like surrounded by rangers, and they said, "We're about to send the helicopters out after you." So that was my dad's introduction to backpacking. Anyway, we all need to get used to that kind of heat because it's coming. Woo! Up in the morning, roll out of bed. Got to get walking 'cause the horses are dead. Shake out your boots 'cause it's time to move on. Put some miles on your feet by the first light of dawn. No one was watching when you rode out of town except that gray-haired old-timer and that worn-out old hound. Blind yaller dog just a scratching his fleas when that old feller coughs and he says with a wheeze, "Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're dry. Walk while the sun is still low in the sky. And don't lose your way or you surely will die, 'cause it's a long, hot trail back to Tucson." Up in the morning, by noon you're half dead. By nightfall you're digging in a dry riverbed. 6 foot of sand and a slab of dry stone, and you're wondering if you're gonna die here alone. You never paid him no mind. You let him work that jawbone. You let him talk that palaver. Let him spew, let him drone. With his dog and his cane and his hat and his lice and his mouth full of chaw and too much free advice. He said something like, "Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're dry. Walk while the sun is still low in the sky. And don't lose your way or you surely will die, 'cause it's a long, hot trail back to Tucson." up in the morning, plumb out of luck. Try not to stumble, 'cause you might not get up. Try not to notice you're those birds overhead, them dang turkey buzzards wishing that you were dead. Stare up at the sun and out across the dry land. That just might be water, but it might just be sand. Your head starts to reel and your eyes have gone red, and you try and remember what that old-timer said. What'd he say now? Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're dry. Walk while the sun is still low in the sky. And don't lose your way or you surely will die, 'cause it's a long, hot trail back to Tucson. Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're dry. Walk while the sun is still low in the sky. And don't lose your way or you surely will die, 'cause it's a long, hot trail back to Tucson. It's a long, hot trail back to Tucson, yeah. All right, so we got one more song. This is my other love song. As long as I'm in tune. There we go. So, I don't know how many of you out there work with your hands, but I think, you know, whether you do it for a living or if you do it as a hobby, you know, if you're a woodworker or if you're a knitter or a quilter, one of those things, I think it gives you a sense of what real quality is, what something that's really good is. And I think if we just took that mindset and applied it to how we lived our lives, maybe the kind of government we'd like to have, or the way we love each other, I think the world would just be a much better place, you know. Brick and mortar, stone and timber, this house has stood 100 years. There's solid ground beneath my feet, and it is cool in summer's heat. Each post and beam was set with care, the attic's dry. Look up the stairs, and every corner perfect square. I love this house of brick and mortar. Oak and maple, chair and table. I've built these things with my own hands, and I have done my level best. So come on in, sit down and rest. The finest woods are all I've used, each mortise tight, each dovetail too, and I have made them all for you, made them to last like brick and mortar. Is it too much to ask that lines be straight and true, that curves be fair and smooth, that hands find work to do, that time not go so fast, that we forgive the past, that you could live with me, that we could make it last? sun and sunrise, moon and firefly, the earth and sea, this starry sky. 4 billion years they have rolled on, and they'll be here when we are gone. Our time is short, so let's make do with what we have before it's through. This house of mine has room for 2. Let's build a love of brick and mortar. Let's build a love of brick and mortar. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So while David and Diane are coming, your guitar stand is over there, so that while they're coming over and getting mic'd up, that song. So just because of that song and all that song brought back to me, I'm going to say, I miss you, Auntie Jim, and Ed Chabers, it's your birthday, happy birthday. And my son's birthday is right around the corner, and that song really brought back some Anthony stuff. So, yeah. Good stuff, David. You wrote that all by yourself?
Yes, I wrote that.
You wrote that all by yourself?
I wrote that all by myself.
Wowie, wow. So, wow. Usually I talk to the community about doing good things in the community during my musicians coming over, but that song tore me up. Today's the anniversary of my favorite uncle, Auntie Jim's death. Auntie Jim, there's a story there. And my son's birthday is Monday, and he passed away.
Oh dear.
Also.
Sorry to hear that.
It's a thing. We lose our children when drugs are involved. It's just part of life now. I'm not the only parent.
No.
You know, there's many, many parents out there that have lost their children. Now, let's talk about you guys. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Grandma, and I never saw the coupleness of you two until I watched you perform together. It's extremely evident, not just in your songwriting. I'm going to assume that the Moon Song was to Diane.
Yeah, yes.
And this Brick and Mortar song, I don't care who it was to. I don't care who it was to. Anybody that hears that song is going to be in love with whoever they're in love with more because of that song. So thank you for being a songwriter that touches people's hearts like that. That's an amazing song. It got me all, yeah. And Sparkle touched a few titties too.
Oh my.
Right? That's why you said before you went on that you had a surprise for me. I was busy telling them about my life. It's all right. For years people have been telling me to write a book. So let's talk about your book. I'm going to write the book. I'm going to put that in it too. And now you're going to have a paragraph.
Ooh.
You guys are going to have a paragraph because I have to add that to my book, right?
Excellent.
Okay. So where did you both meet? Where did you meet?
Oh my.
And how long has it been? Because it's very evident.
We met each other, what?
In the 90s.
In the 90s, 20-something years ago.
Okay.
In a song circle in Brantford, Connecticut.
Nice.
Yeah, New Haven, the Brantford Folk Music Society had
Oh, nice.
At a song circle.
monthly song circles, and then music parties.
And we'd see each other over the years. And Diane married an artist, Harvey Riggs, quite wonderful artist, by the way, but who unfortunately passed away.
Yeah, yeah.
And about a year after that,
But David had been married and has a few children when we were meeting
friends.
around, being friends. So we were acquaintances.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
yeah, we didn't play a lot of music together or anything like that, but we knew each other. And then after a year after Harvey died, Diane came to a contra dance, and I was there.
Okay.
And
So I have a really good friend that contra dances.
Yeah.
Her name is Katrina.
Oh, we know
Katrina.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know
Bet you do,
Katrina.
because she's like
Yeah.
the queen of contra dances.
Yes, yes.
She really is.
In Groton, yeah. So
Yeah. So anyway, we were, after the contra dance, a bunch of us went to this diner, local diner, as we often do, and Diane was sitting across from me, and we were all talking about what our dream vacation would be.
bucket lists.
It was a bucket list kind of thing. And I said, I'd really like to canoe the Everglades Wilderness Waterway. And Diane looks across and she says, count me in. And that was it.
There's alligators and crocodiles and stuff,
Yeah,
and they eat people.
but we did it.
Did you get eaten?
Yes.
Well, obviously
we
you did.
did by the no-see-ums.
Yeah,
By the
and the
no-see-ums.
No-see-ums, that means you didn't see an alligator or crocodile.
Yeah, right, no.
Am I right?
No, we saw
plenty of- we saw both.
We saw those, but the little no-see-ums are midges that come out at
The midges that
you know,
come out at dusk
and
they
eat
just
you
those-
And
alive.
they're called no-see-ums.
because
Yeah,
they're so
they're-
tiny
'Cause you can't
barely
see 'em.
see them, and they just bite.
And-
Can't you wear something like garlic? I eat a lot of garlic. I never get mosquito bit.
Nothing worked against those things. We tried everything.
No see-ums.
No problem with the mosquitoes, but those little midges, those little microscopic things, oh my Lord.
That's horrible. Yeah, I'm gonna smack you. He is so fresh today. So he's taking a video of you two live. And the skirt gets in front of the camera. It was the stripper song, and shakes their butt. Now I want you to see how I quite brilliantly worked in he, her, and them into that sentence. There's a reason for that. I'm such a bitch. Anyway, so the Everglades, I would not do that, by the way. The Everglades trip, how was it? And at the end of it, were you guys like...
Still talking to each other.
We were still talking.
And did you decide
Miraculously.
that then you really needed to like see each other more?
Well, we were already seeing each other before that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have gone on that. It was an 11-day, 99-mile trip
Paddle.
that we did with two other friends.
That's
So
fascinating.
it was-
Did you sing
It was-
on that trip?
Some, yeah.
I'm sure we did.
It was more of an adventure
It
than a
was more of an
vacation.
adventure.
It
It
turned
was
out to be
not
a lot of.
vacation.
It was hard work, hard work.
Oh, I bet.
And we've had since then we've had some really wonderful trips together. So.
Well, you sunk the boat.
Well,
What
not-
the
not
hell,
quite.
David?
We kept it afloat, is what we did. We kept it afloat.
We did keep it afloat.
Did you like knock him out?
No, he was keeping it afloat.
Diane
This
was a trooper. You know, she just came through it. She did what needed to be done, and we got through all that mess. And it was a challenge. Some of it was really hard. You know, we sailed all night, a couple of nights in a row. and
After
it's
the
like-
engine died in the Cape Cod Canal, we had to make it home to Branford, Connecticut, without an engine.
Without any power, so with the
any
hurricane
But did you have
coming up.
sails?
Yeah.
So-
but if there's no wind, though, it doesn't do you any good.
We had a- yeah, it was a
we
little
did a lot of drifting
Drifting
with
is
a
cool.
hurricane coming up the coast.
Oh my
Wait.
God.
And Diane's not used to sailing all night with.
Yeah, so
So
she is now. Anyway, so that
So
was
that's
that.
done nothing but bring you guys closer together.
I would say that was probably true. You know, I mean, you know.
So when was the
when we
first-
argue, it's about the little stuff. It's the little stuff that gets
And then,
you.
so when you do argue, which I assume like every good couple, it happens. When you do argue, is it the music that brings you back together or the big stuff that you've come through that brings you back together?
it's his cooking.
David, are you a good cook?
He's an excellent cook. He's an excellent cook.
Okay, wait. So David brings the songwriting. David brings the boat.
What does Diane bring?
What does Diane
That's
bring?
a very good question. That's a very good question.
She
We
brings.
have to
Well,
ask
she's
David.
gorgeous,
We
for
have
one
to
thing.
ask.
She,
have to ask.
she really is.
She's smart. She's the kindest person I know, and
Kindness is a superpower. Just saying.
Well,
it is.
she's got it. She's got it, and she's smart.
And that smile?
She can sing. She can, as I've said before, she can put a harmony on a dead horse. And sometimes she does, you know, when she's playing with me. Every once in a while I sing like a dead horse and she rescues me.
No.
So do you feel like your two love songs that you played today are crowd favorites?
Yeah.
They certainly were here.
Yeah,
They certainly
do.
were. I mean, I liked Sparkle too, just saying, because. But Moon was very much, that's where I saw, she glows when you sing that song. She glowed. Like it was obvious that connection of love was so real. Like there was no disputing that you guys are in love. No disputing because of that song. Brick and Mortar was more than that. Brick and Mortar is much more than that. It's more relatable because it's not as personal. The Moon song is very personal. Brick and Mortar is bring the whole family into it. Bring the whole life experience of putting a life together that means something. And it doesn't just apply to a couple. It applies to everybody that's people put families together in different ways nowadays, right? We see a lot of that.
Yeah.
We see people putting together families, to women with kids, to men with kids, a man and a woman of different races with kids, and it doesn't even mean anything anymore. It's good. It's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the way I believe the Creator wanted us to have it. But you're a songwriter. How often do you sit down and write a song? Do you sit down and try to write every day or every week? Is it a
I'm pretty
process?
I'm pretty sporadic, to
Really?
be honest with you. I was in the music business back in the 90s,
Okay.
and then I sort of
What
burned.
did you do in the music business in the 90s?
I played stuff and sang. I was in a band. I was in a
What
couple
band
of
were you
duos.
in? Oh, you
my
were
God,
out in
nobody
you were
would-
out in California.
Yeah, and the band around here nobody's ever heard of. I guarantee you nobody's ever heard of it. But, we played folk music. We played some Western swing, that kind of stuff. But anyway, I just totally got fried on the whole music business. And
Some people
I
do.
dropped out for, 10, 15 years. And then about 5-6 years, just before COVID, I guess a friend of mine asked me to split a bill with him, and I said, well, okay, and it was fun. It's like, oh, I like this after all, and I started playing out again. But in the meantime, in those 20 some odd years, I'd still been writing songs, so I had this huge backlog of songs. So I don't write really frequently. I don't sit down
And
every
make
day
yourself
and
write.
make myself write. I usually wait till I find myself getting inspired all at once. I'll get 2 or 3 what seem like really good ideas, and sometimes bam, they just come right out and I'm done. Actually, Brick and Mortar was one of those. It took me
There's no doubt in
a
my
day
mind
to
that
write
that
that
was
one.
written by a muse.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind. It's an incredible song. Definitely a gift from the universe, and definitely needs to be shared. Is it recorded anywhere?
It is actually. It's not out. It's not published yet because we're recording. We've got a couple of CDs in the works.
Who are you working with?
Mark Dan, he's a producer out of Woodstock, New York,
Okay.
that Diane's known since the 90s.
80s.
80s.
Woo! Woo-hoo!
She's known him for a very long time, and he's produced some really good people, Richard Schindel, and
We
who
love
else,
Richard
you know?
Schindel.
Yeah, Richard Schindel and Ellis Paul.
And David Roth and a lot of big name folk people. But he also is a really nice guy and a really good engineer. So
I love that.
So,
I was a little surprised with the producers that we have in our circle of peeps. There's some really good producers and studios doing some stuff too. So I was a little surprised that I didn't hear one of their names.
Yeah.
But it's nice to hear that you're branching out. And when you do have that, you'll come back and we'll put it out on the air. We'll put it out. We'll let people know that it has dropped. We'll let everybody know where it can drop. Do you have anything on any of the streaming places now?
I've got some stuff on YouTube.
Okay. And now you're going to be on YouTube. Sunday morning, this will go up on YouTube and will be all over the world. Yeah,
So-
I share it everywhere.
And I have a website. It's just davidcoller.com.
COLLER.com.
That's right.
David Coller, like it sounds, like on your neck.
Only with no A, an E. It has an E, not an A. Anyway, no I, no A.
Okay, so where are you guys playing coming up? Because I know
Oh.
that you have some stuff going on.
Yeah, we're playing at
Saturday, March
March
15th, at Nightingale's
Acoustic
in
Cafe.
Old Lime,
Yeah.
7
Old Lime.
o'clock there.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
nice.
And
That's
then,
good.
Well, let's see. April 6th, we'll be playing a house concert up in Boston.
Okay.
And we've got we're going to be playing at May 10th. We'll be playing a library gig in Rhine Cliff, New York.
Yeah, up
So,
the Hudson River.
Would
and
you
then
like to do a house concert in New London?
Love to.
love
Okay,
to.
so I like to do house concerts throughout the summer. So I'll give you guys a date as soon as I start setting those up, and you guys can come play the pool party at my house because I do it like 4 times this summer.
Oh,
So that would be fun. I'd love to
That'd
have
be
you guys
awesome.
come do that. You'll be like the folk band. We'll have a rock and roll band. We'll have a jazz band. We'll have a multi band, and we'll have the folk band.
Oh, great.
So
Great.
it will be fun.
Fun,
So I feel like I've done all the talking, which is not really normal. No, it really isn't. Thank you for outing me with the stripper song. And I'm not ashamed of what I did. I'm not. I
You shouldn't
did it
be.
well.
Why should you
I
be?
did it well. But anyway, I hope you guys will come back when those CDs are done. One of the things you didn't do while you were up there playing was play the banjo.
Oh, well,
Will you take us out with a banjo song?
I would be happy to.
Okay, don't forget to
Unclip.
Unclip.
untether. Okay, go get ready to take us out with the song. And while we do, I'm going to do my community thing. Guys, it's March, but it's still chilly at night, and the heat's going to come. Please make sure those kids have something on their feet. Please make sure your elderly next door neighbors have fresh water and some kind of warmth, moving air, whatever. And you know what? Shop local, shop small. It might cost you a couple more pennies, but those pennies will stay in your community. It's so important to keep your cash in your community. Shop the mom and pop shops, shop the galleries, support local music, support local art, and most of all, kindness is a superpower. Support each other. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
All right, here we go. Say goodbye once again, riding high on a west wind, making tracks for that far side of that great divide. Another stroll down the lane, another goodbye to pain. I'm gonna taste every fruit on that great tree of life. One more dance, one more rhyme, one more bottle of good wine, one more laugh, one more love while I'm still still in my prime. One more kiss on the cheek, one more walk in the creek, one more day in the sun while I've still got the time. Just a call from a friend, and I'm on the road again. Give me wide open highway and wide open sky, and every day another town, every night another round, always higher and higher on that great tree of life. One more dance, one more rhyme, one more bottle of good wine, one more laugh, one more love while I'm still in my prime. One more kiss on the cheek, one more walk in the creek, one more day in the sun while I'm still got the time. I've seen sunshine, I've seen rain, I've seen hobos and freight trains. I've been down every back road and up every stream. And when I'm old and frail and gray and my strength slips away, I'm gonna rest in the shade of that great tree of life. One more dance, one more rhyme, one more bottle of good wine, one more laugh, one more love while I'm still in my prime. One more kiss on the cheek, one more walk in the creek, one more day in the sun while I've still got the time. One more day in the sun while I've still got the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so
Dot,
much.
for having us, and thank you,
Thank
crew.
you, Dot.
Thanks
Thank
the
you.
crew,
Wonderful crew.
and yeah, hope to see you out there in the music world.
Yes.